Heroic and Legendary Shroud are about 90% the same. There's 5 parts to Shroud, and the first 4 parts are virtually identical with just very subtle differences, and I will explain the differences in each part. And after each part, we have a break, so I'll explain each part as we get to it. And then the 5th part of Legendary Shroud is quite different than Heroic Shroud. So the way the first part is going to work is we're going to, we'll step forward, we'll talk to Eritrikos, there'll be a portal that comes up, and that portal will close after 5 minutes. So if people join this raid late, as long as they can get in within 5 minutes, they can get into the raid. But after that portal closes, they could step into the raid and get completion, but they couldn't get into the rest of the raid. They'd be stuck right here in the starting area. And so that's another reason why you would never want a D-door in this raid, at least not after the first 5 minutes, because you would be locked out. Okay, Abhorsum. You can still just let me know when. Just send me a tell and we'll get you in here. Okay, so the way this first part is going to work is we're going to step through a portal, and there's going to be basically like a simple... it's just kind of a big open area. And we're going to have to first kill a bunch of trash. It's going to be Orthons and Kobold Casters and Bearded Devils. It's like a Shavroth invasion of Lamania here. Or of the Twilight Forest, or... yeah, whatever. It's a Shavroth invasion. And after we kill the trash, there's going to be portals that appear. And the first portal will be like right in the center of the zone, and then after that, they appear like in a set pattern. So we're gonna beat down those portals and just move from portal to portal. Trash will spawn out of them. AOEs should take them, should kill them, or casters and range tunes can kill them. No big deal. Oh, the portals are lawful evil constructs. Thank you, Bolo Grub. So things like Rack Construct will work on them. You're gonna want to use like construct beaters, if you're using like physical weapons. If you're melee or range, you're going to use construct beaters. Bolo, can you talk about what else is good for beating down portals?
Back in the day in regular Shroud, triple positive weapons, Shroud weapons were really good. Anything that's holy or good works really well on them. The kind of purplish color chaos type weapons, there's a couple different names for that I'm blanking out at the moment, but those work really well on the portals.
Okay, cool.
Flame Touch is also another one that works well on the portal, so anything flame touched with additional damage.
Thank you. Welcome, Savriel. And when we beat down the portals, they will explode. That's one of the differences between Heroic and Legendary Shroud is in Legendary, the portals explode, and people nearby will take force damage. It's a force explosion. And you'll also get a curse, and that curse makes it so you can't be healed. So it's important to get your curses. Hopefully you got curse pots. You should always have that with you at all times. So in Heroic Shroud, the portals don't explode, you don't take damage, and there's no curse. I think that's probably the most significant difference between Heroic and Legendary Shroud in terms of Part 1. So all we're going to do is kill trash. After trash is killed, and you can split up and kill trash, if you feel comfortable. It's just, this is first generation Legendary content, so this isn't difficult content. After we kill trash, we're going to gather in the center to beat down the first portal, and then just stay with the group to move from portal to portal. And I will say that different groups have different patterns, and I guess different servers have different sort of, normal patterns of what different servers do. So if you do this with a different group, it's possible that they could go from portals differently. Maybe they'll keep the group together, maybe people will split up. It's just whatever the group does. All right, so after each part, like I said, there will be a break, so we'll explain each part as we get to it. All right, well, let's go. So we're just going to talk to Eritrikos here. He's the boss of Heroic Shroud. We're also going to fight him at the end in part 4. Go ahead and click on the portal. Watch for Shavroth blades. They'll be whirling around. They won't do too much damage on normal. troglodytes as well. As trash mobs just go ahead and split. There are some spikes on the walls and things that'll do a little bit damage. But we just kind of just run around and kill trash. You can see it says there are 9 left. If you look at the upper right-hand corner, it says now we have 8 left. Oh, there are no blades in part 1 of Heroic Shroud. At least I don't think there are. And I'm going to be soloing Heroic Shroud after this, just to demonstrate how to solo this. And Legendary Shroud is soloable as well. Alright, gather in the center for the first portal. For what it's worth, Shroud, each part of the Shroud is an homage to an old video game. And part 1 is like the old Gauntlet. And the giveaway is that there's the green elf, there's the blue Valkyrie corpse, red warrior, and the yellow wizard. Just come on, you can jump up over here on this block, get your curses, and you can jump up to the next portal. But in Gauntlet, the old school Gauntlet, you know, you're running around killing monsters, and then you want to kill the monster generators. It's like these portals are the monster generators. That's where the monsters are coming out of. So this is, you know, supposed to be like old school Gauntlet. All right, you can go across the way. You can wing across if you want to. Remember to get your curses once you beat down the portal. Just stay with the group. We got some folks hanging out. Some folks aren't moving back there. We're across the way. And like feet, if you look across the way from you, kind of behind you, you'll see them jumping up and down below. Just come on down here. Okay, now we're gonna go back up.
You don't want to show the portal, Master?
Oh yeah, thank you for the reminder. So okay, let's sit tight and do nothing. Let's just hang out and do nothing. Okay, so there's a mechanic that will cause auto failure. And let's come back even further, guys. I want that stuff. We need to be so far away that stuff will not
kill trash. Do not kill trash.
Yep, don't kill the trash. I want it to be so far away that stuff won't aggro on us. So come way, way back. So if mobs are spawning out of a portal, we can go ahead and take these out since they came over here. It's fine. But don't kill the stuff at the portal, please. So if mobs are, if that portal is untended to and enough mobs spawn after, I don't know, a couple of minutes or so, there'll be a portal keeper that spawns, and he's like a tiefling caster guy. If a portal keeper is in the zone, is living for 1 minute, this part will auto fail. You see the portal keeper there? Okay, now draw your attention. I want you to go to the center of the zone. Okay, like the beginning. Everybody come out to the beginning. I want you to look up. You see that firewall that's up top between the two pillars? If there's ever a firewall there, that means there's a living portal keeper in the zone somewhere. Okay? That firewall will disappear as soon as the portal keeper is dead. So we're gonna run and kill this portal keeper now. He is dead. And now if you look at that firewall, it'll go out. It just went out. So that's a little thing that even a lot of veterans of Shroud don't realize, and Heroic is the same way. That if there's ever a living portal keeper in the zone, there's a firewall in that archway up there. And so if you're ever unsure if a portal keeper has been killed, you can always look at that archway up top, and if there's still a firewall there, then you still have a portal keeper somewhere. And like I said, you got to kill him within 60 seconds, otherwise you auto-fail the raid. Thank you for the reminder, Talisek. And that's why I bring my guildies along, to remind me of these things that sometimes I forget to say. You know, that's the little details that I want to make sure I mention in these teaching raids. Okay, just please stay together, stay with the group. Everybody should be working on the same portal. Don't forget to drink a curse pot. I might even be doing out of our usual order. I don't do Shroud anymore, and I forget. I forget the order. E1704, good morning and welcome, and thank you for the raid, E1704. I'm probably saying that wrong. Party of 4, your table is ready. Would you like to start with a cup of coffee or a glass of juice?
The order that the portals spawn will change if you have a different pattern. You know, like some servers will have their own pattern. So it can be really kind of confusing which portal is next if, you know, different groups are used to different patterns.
Yep. Yep, like killing a certain portal may or will cause, you know, 2 other portals to appear or something like that. So if you do beat them down in a different order, yeah, definitely. They'll end up spawning in different orders. Okay, there's one more portal to go.
DPS is so good today that it doesn't generally matter too much if people end up getting split up on different portals.
Oh, here's one down in the center that we kind of overlooked. So this is the last portal, I think. Okay. And another difference between Heroic Shroud and Legendary Shroud is that Legendary Shroud has some trash mobs as you go to the end of part 1. But it's just a couple groups of kobolds. Or maybe it's these troglodytes.
The portals are immune to elemental damage. So force, but of course if you have bypasses, yeah, they do take damage then.
Oh, we still had one more portal. There we go. Okay, so now we can go to the end of part 1. And here's some kobolds here. No big deal. Go up the stairs, and if you go down to the right before you loot, there's going to be another group of kobolds down here that we can take out before we shrine. Don't advance to part 2, please, because I do want to explain how it works. Go ahead and loot your chests. Any questions about part 1 before we start talking about part 2? And hand-like feet, since you've never done this before, I'm going to go ahead and pass my ingredients to you. Shrine if you like. Here's your Legendary Altar of Invasion. This is where you do part 1 of Legendary Green Steel Crafting. We won't be talking about that during this event, but just showing you that this is the altar.
And generally speaking, if you are wanting to do legendary or green steel crafting, you want to wait until you complete the raid, because once the raid is over, you'll be able to get back to all the other altars.
Yes, might be interpreted as kind of rude if you're crafting during the raid, as Gijo said, and I'll repeat because he broke up a little bit. You can come after the raid is over. You can come back to all of the earlier altars and spend all the time you want crafting, and we'll show you how that works at the end of the raid. Okay. Let's go over here, and once we click the altar, the portal will appear to part 2. The way that part 2 works is you're going to appear in a maze, a simple maze, and you're going to appear in one of the 4 corners of the maze. And it's kind of abstractly designed like Pac-Man. If you know the original Pac-Man, it's a simple maze game, and there's ghosts that run around and try to eat you. Well, we're going to appear in a maze, and when we kill the bosses, they're going to turn to ghosts, and just like Pac-Man, they're going to run back to the center and regenerate. The way that we're going to do this is I want everybody to go, like, immediately go south and then over to the southwest corner, dragging any trash mobs with you. We'll just kill all the trash mobs in a pile. Do not go through the center of the maze, because if you go through the center of the maze, you're going to aggro the bosses, and we don't want to necessarily aggro the bosses right away. I want to kill all the, as much trash as we can first, and then we'll pull the bosses, and I'll show you how that works. And then when we pull the bosses, We're going to pull them all the way to the southwest corner, and the reason why we want to take them to the southwest corner is because that's the farthest distance back to the center. You didn't know that, Proc? How long have you been doing Shroud? So, and when we kill the bosses, like I said, they're going to turn to ghosts, and then they're going to walk back to the center. And if they get to the center, they're going to regenerate. So we want to take them to the southwest corner, give them that, which makes it the longest distance for them to have to walk back, because we got to kill. They all got to be dead at the same time, and then there's a crystal in the center of the zone that we have to break. Yeah, actually, all parts of the Shroud are abstractly designed like a classic video game. Part 1 is Gauntlet. Part 2 is Pac-Man. Part 3, I say it's like Blueprint. Some people say it's Frogger. Part 4 is like Star Castle. Part 5, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do Part 2. Like I said, you're going to appear in one of the 4 corners of a simple maze. Go due south and then southwest. Do not go through the center of the maze. All the way south and then southwest. Drag any trash mobs with you. We'll kill them all in the southwest. Now, for what it's worth, most pugs will gather in south central. That's the common pug method. But like I said, we do southwest because it's a little bit further from the center. I'm going to just kill all trash in the southwest corner. Go due south. Looks like we might have someone that's going towards the center. Oh, no, that's Bolo Grub up there. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, sorry, I actually got turned around. I was going the wrong way.
It's okay. Okay, it looks like all trash is dead. For the folks who are new, please follow me. High Lords, you can just hang out here. For the folks who are new, please follow me. Alright, we're going to go to the center of the dungeon so that you can see how this next part works. Okay, and get back against this wall, and I want you to just tiptoe over. Don't shoot anything. I want you to tiptoe over to about right where I'm standing, and you can start to see some of the bosses there, and you'll see there's a purple crystal behind a force field that's floating up top. Okay? So usually just one person will come and grab the 4 bosses. The 4 bosses are random. So it's not the same 4 bosses every time. There's a kobold, there's a gnoll, there's a fire elemental, there's an orthon, a bearded devil, there's a... I can't even remember them all, but there's a bunch of different ones that can be... There's a Vezakira, and they all have different run speeds. And so, like, when you kill the... You know, remember when I said when you kill them, they turn to a ghost and they come back to the center to regenerate? Well, like, the Orthon, for example, is super, super slow. He hobbles back to the center like an old man. But the cat and the fire elemental are super fast. I mean, they are just running back, and you literally only have seconds. So if you get, like, the cat and the fire elemental, it can be a little more challenging to have that window where they're all dead. And when they're all dead, you got to have people here in the center breaking that crystal. You can hurl through hell to insta-kill it. Otherwise, you can DPS it. So what we're going to do is, once all the mobs are prepped, we're going to send, like, ranged and casting DPS to the center before we start killing. And they'll be ready to break the crystal as soon as the crystal becomes vulnerable. And the crystal becomes vulnerable when all 4 of these bosses are dead. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and grab the aggro, and we're going to drag them. Oh, we got the fire Ellie. We're going to drag them to the southwest corner, guys. So don't fight them. We're just going to drag them to the southwest corner. And sometimes they are not very cooperative. Sometimes they get stuck on walls and things. Don't fight them. Just go to the southwest corner. The bosses will not die when they're together. So what we're going to do is we're going to get them all in the corner here and prep them. Go ahead and DPS them. Somebody who does a High Lord, or Gijo, can you check on the 4th one?
Sure.
Looks like one of them may not have followed, and I don't want to go check because they're just going to follow me. So Caskwick just went down. He died because they're not all together, I think. but that's okay.
Yeah, it's your turn. He's still up by the crystal.
Okay, let's just go back to the crystal, guys,
Trying
real
to bring
quick.
him down.
Go ahead and come back to the crystal. I want to show you that they're going to regenerate. You can see there's like their ghosts that are walking back to the crystal now. The fire elemental was really quick. Casquick, the kobold, is still walking. And I just want to show you this mechanic. See, the Enershub, the Hellion, the fire elemental just returned. And watch Casquick. Don't worry about the mobs. Just watch Casquick. He's going to go to the center and regenerate, just like an old school Pac-Man ghost. Boom, Casquick is back, okay? Once you go through one round of beating them down and you didn't kill the crystal, they no longer are invulnerable when they're together. So you can really just kill them anywhere. But we don't want to kill them here, because if we just kill them here, there's a very short distance to go back to the center. So let's take them down to southwest. Now, like I said, when they're together, the first time they can't be killed. So the way that we typically separate them is just by running them. Once they're prepped in the southwest corner, we just run them to the north. And because they have different run speeds, by getting them by running them to the north, they'll separate out on their own. And then once they're far enough away from each other, they can be killed. Don't DPS them until everybody's here. Just wait till everybody's here, please.
The Orthon is not moving.
The Orthon's not moving? Okay. You can't get his aggro?
I'll try to frag it.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's annoying. He doesn't want to come.
Alright, just sit tight, guys.
The other,
Yeah?
yeah, the other three bosses are aggroed on me, so.
Okay. The Orthon, like I said, sometimes these mobs are uncooperative. You know, the Orthon can be really, really slow. Might be time for plan B. Yeah, we're going to be able to beat him down really quickly. Okay, so we're gonna do plan B. Okay, so I want the new folks to come with me. I want High Lords to be in the southwest corner. High Lords here in the southwest corner, and the new folks can come with me. And High Lords, go ahead and kill the fire elemental last. Go ahead and kill the first two, and then kill the fire elemental last, and we'll kill Matano up here. And let me know when they're starting to go down, because Matano's super slow.
Nola's down.
Okay.
Casquick is down.
Let's kill Matano. Kill the fire Ellie. Come to the center, guys.
Fire Ellie is down.
Come to the center. And the crystal is vulnerable. Let's go ahead and destroy it. Boom. We're done with part 2. Any questions? For what it's worth, this isn't really a mechanic that is relevant by today's standards, but if you follow me to the corner over here, every corner has a tree that has like butterflies in it. You can move in and out of the butterflies to get a little bit of spell points and hit points back. It's, back in the day, people would use this when people didn't have as much spell points, but like by today's standards, it's not really relevant, but I just wanted to show you that's a mechanic in both Heroic and Legendary Shroud. Tex Humble, good morning and welcome. All right, now we can go to the chest, down to South Central, and then to the west. The meaning of your life is whatever meaning you give it, Suggs. Isn't that great news that you get to give your life meaning? I'll put a small sulfur stone in the chest for you, hand-like feet. Okay, any questions about part 2? That's awesome, Savriel. Well, I'm glad that you got to join us because, like I said, like I said before, people can be longtime veterans of raids but not really know how the certain mechanics work. So we had plenty of space today. I'm glad you could join us, and thanks for saying. Okay, part 3 is next. Once we click the altar, it'll bring up a portal to go to part 3. In part 3, it's going to be like a square loop. Ziggy, good morning and welcome. And around that square loop is going to be 11 rooms that have not floor tile puzzles, but lights out puzzles. The puzzles where you have to light up all the lights. And once you solve it, there you go. There's a solver, solver.cubicleninja.com. Thank you. I'm gonna enter that into the into chat. It has Shroud Puzzle Solver, and maybe I'll show real quickly how to use that. Maybe I'll do it when I'm in my room, in one of the rooms. But here's the thing. You're gonna appear in one of those 11 rooms at random that has a puzzle. To get out of it, you're gonna need to solve the puzzle. You can also break the crystals above the door to get out, but that will lock us out of optional chests. Those optional chests don't have anything too important in them. But for the purposes of this teaching raid, I'd like to go ahead and do the puzzles. But in your Legendary Shroud, if you join a pug, they might just break the crystals and say, screw the puzzles, and they don't want to spend time doing them. But we'll go ahead and do them. So do not break the crystals above the doors to the puzzle rooms. Do your puzzle, and after you get out, do your puzzle. That'll open the door. Or you can unlock the door too. If you're a lock picker, melt lock, knock, lock bash, you can get out that way as well. So you don't have to do the puzzle to get out, and you don't even have to break the crystal to get out. You can just unlock it to get out. But that puzzle will have to be done by somebody. After you get out of your puzzle room, you're going to go to South Central. And there's going to be 3 crystals above a door to the center. And I don't want us to break those crystals right away. I want everybody to get out and see that. So just hang out down in South Central, please. Of course, then again, if we do that, we might get killed by the wall. So there's going to be this prismatic wall that's sweeping through the zone. I think there's going to be one at first, but then there'll be a couple of them. And if you touch the wall, it will kill you. So don't touch the wall. The wall is tricky, though, because you don't even have to get right up to it for it to kill you. And sometimes it'll back up. They sweep in a clockwise motion, but sometimes they'll stop and back up a little bit just to taunt you. So don't get too close to the wall, otherwise you might find that you're dead. And sometimes the wall will kill people because it sweeps through the puzzle room, so if you don't do your puzzle quickly enough, it'll kill you. Don't panic. If the wall kills you, we'll get you. Don't worry. So you're going to appear in a 1 of 11, at random, you're going to appear in 1 of 11 lights out puzzle rooms. Do the puzzle, go to South Central. Then we're going to break 3 crystals to get to the center. In the center, there's going to be some trash mobs. Some kobolds will kill them really quick, no big deal. There's a fountain. If you touch the fountainhead, you will gather a vial of lunar dew. You can only gather 1 at a time. Once you have a vial of lunar dew, you can run it out to a room that has a completed puzzle, and you can click on the fountainheads in those puzzle rooms, and it will get the water flowing in those fountains. And then we want to get the water flowing in all 11 of those puzzle rooms in order to advance the raid. So appear in a random puzzle room, do your puzzle to get out. If you can't do your puzzle, unlock the door to get out, go to South Central, open up the South Central room, the South Central fountain room by breaking 3 crystals. Go in there, kill some kobolds. Click on the fountain to get a vial of lunar dew. Run vials of lunar dew out to the fountainheads of the puzzle rooms. Once all 11 fountains are going, then we advance to the next part. If you do the last water, if you do water for the 11th fountain before all the puzzles are done, that will lock us out of optional chests. It's just medium ingredients. It's not a big deal, but I just want you to realize that that mechanic is there. And so if you ever put the final water into the final fountain before the puzzles are done, you know, people might yell at you. Just letting you know. All right, let's do it. Click on the altar here and go ahead and click on the portal. And there is a bug where all the puzzles are sometimes just automatically completed, and we got the bug. So the puzzles don't need to be done. But if you go ahead and look above the puzzle rooms, above the doors, you'll see that there are crystals. Remember I said you could break the crystals to get out of the rooms? But if you break crystals, it will lock us out of the extra chests. Also, notice that there are runes as you're running around. The runes will trigger like an AoE debuff effect, and you'll take some damage too. So you'll try to avoid the runes. There's also AoE traps that trigger, do a lot of damage. Okay, so down to South Central, the crystals were already broken. So the South Central room is now accessible. So you can go to the Central room. Kobolds are now dead. And the bonus chests are underwater. And they're already accessible because all the puzzles were done. So you can help yourself to those bonus chests at any time. Those just have ingredients in it. And hand-like feet, I'll put the ingredients in, my ingredients in there for you. All right, so go ahead and touch the fountain head to gather a vial of lunar dew, the fountain in the central. And then you're going to run that vial of lunar dew back out to the puzzle rooms. And you'll notice in the quest box in the upper right-hand corner, it says, purify the fountains of the waxing moons, 9 left. So that tells us how many fountains we still have to activate. Watch out for the wall. It will kill you. There's the wall. Just touch the fountain in the puzzle room and it gets the water flowing. Then go back to the central room, the South Central room, and gather another vial of lunar dew. We got a wall coming, Savriel. Back up. The room is not safe. Oh, wow, you got around it. Nice job. It's tight to get around the wall like that. I thought it was going to get you. Sometimes people like to make jokes like, oh, you can tumble through the wall, or they'll tell you, like, I don't know, if you block the wall won't hurt you or something like that. That's just a gag. People are just trying to get you killed. We do that to even to our own guildies. You can intimidate the wall to change the direction. I'm just going to demonstrate that you can beat the wall around the corner. See, the wall goes into the one corner and it comes out the other way. So if you're really quick, you can beat the wall around the corner. But, you know, if you're not super fast, then it will get you. By the way, if there's anybody watching, and I'd love to hear from viewers, is there anybody watching who's new to or still learning Legendary Shroud? And if you have any questions, please ask. I'll be answering viewer questions about the raid when I can. My attention is mainly focused to the folks, you know, on the folks who are here learning in person, but I will be answering viewer questions when I can. Oh, also notice that there's Shavroth blades whirling around. Those will damage you. We're just on normal, so they don't do much. And for what it's worth, there's a corner in the, let's see, northwest corner, which is extremely deadly. I've never really understood exactly why, but I've died so many times in this corner. It's like the corner of death. And it's right where I'm standing. I've died so many times here. You know, from, I forget what it even says, localized trap or something. Okay, one more water. There it is right here. The last water is in the northeast corner. And we're good to go. All right, go ahead and go to South Central. You can grab your extra chest underwater if you haven't done so already. Then you can go out the South Central door, which is now open. There was a barrier there. There's going to be some kobolds that are already dead, and help yourself to a couple of chests outside as well. And then here is tier 2, the tier 2 legendary green steel altar. You can craft heroic green steel outside of the Shroud, but you cannot craft legendary green steel outside of the Shroud. It must be crafted in the Shroud. Any questions about part 3? Right, Ziggy? I think the only one I've done in the last decade is just soloing it for fun or whatever. Legendary Shroud is turning 10 this year. Can you believe it? Isn't that crazy? Came out at the end of 2015. This was first generation legendary content. All right, for what it's worth, you've got Morenoloth, the Yugoloth Ferryman here. He is a general vendor. He is a little bit more expensive than a regular general vendor, but he does sell spell components, and he does sell Shavrath low, medium, and high energy cells. Those are used for heroic green steel crafting. So if you run out of spell components or you need to sell and repair, you can do so at this guy. Remember when everybody used to line up against the wall for buffs right here? Old school. Okay, the way part 4 is going to work is we're going to appear in an arena, and there's going to be 2 rounds of trash mobs. When you kill the bearded devils, it will spawn Shavrath blades, and the Shavrath blades are actually like honing missiles. They will hone in on whoever killed the bearded devil. So if you didn't know, or if you're like, man, it seems like these Shavrath blades are following me. Yes, they are. They're literally following you. So just let you know, they'll go away after a while, but they will follow the person that killed the devil. And after a couple rounds of trash, Eritrikos will appear. We're going to beat him down. After a bit, there's going to be a circle of Shavrath blades with a small opening that you could safely move in and out of. That will get closer and closer. They'll slowly close in on the boss. Now, traditionally, you'd have all the melees on the boss, and if the blades got towards the center, you would call the melees out because they'd be taking too much damage. But by today's standards, I think most people are just going to ignore it. If you wanted to step out for the blades, you could. Now, if you don't beat the boss down in one round, what's going to happen is he's going to disappear. You're going to have to fight some trash mobs, and then after a minute, he'll reappear, and then these gnolls will come out and start healing him. I do not want to beat down the boss in one round, because I want you guys to see what happens when you don't beat the boss down in one round, okay? So we're going to click on the altar, go ahead and click on the portal, and go ahead and kill trash mobs. We're just in a little arena. The mobs won't aggro until we move towards them. Remember, we do not want to kill the boss, because I want you to see how this whole part plays out. But if we wanted to, we could very easily kill this boss in the first round. But we don't want you to just, we want you to understand as much of this raid as possible when you're here at these teaching raids. By the way, the boss will not move from the center. He is fixed. There he is. Go ahead and beat on him a little bit. Maybe take him to not more than about half. He probably will beat down really quickly. Notice there's a ring of Shavrath blades. Okay, stop DPS. Just stop DPS now, guys. Don't beat him to stop DPS. Okay. Notice there's a ring of Shavrath blades that are circling in a counterclockwise fashion. They are going to get closer and closer. They're going to slowly get closer to the boss until they're all just right on top of the boss. And then after they're on top of the boss for, after that point, then the boss will disappear. So just sit by and do nothing right now. That's a big snowman. Notice that the circle of blades is getting closer and closer to the boss. If you want, go ahead and get in the blades. This is a great time to experiment, like, so you can see, okay, this is how much damage these things are doing on normal. So that you can see for yourself, okay, this is not a big deal, or maybe it is too much for you. Depends on your defenses. But our teaching raids are a great time to experiment with things like this, so that you don't have to find out in a pug environment. Okay, the boss disappears. We're going to deal with some trash. And he's going to fly. He flies over top, and he's supposed to be meteor swarming us, but it's been bugged for years, so the meteor swarms actually don't even make it to us. Afah! Good morning and welcome. Nope, we're just actually doing normal Legendary Shroud as a teaching raid. Yeah, so it's effectively just fireworks. Okay, now we got some trash mobs to deal with. No big deal. And every time you fail to kill Eritrikos in time, you're going to go through an iteration of this. There's going to be trash mobs. He's going to fly over top, drop meteor swarms that don't do anything. Don't kill them. Don't kill them. I want you to see. And then these gnolls come out, and they're going to do their green rays. Look at Eritrikos' health. He's going to heal from these green rays. So when these gnolls come out, normally what you want to do is kill them as fast as possible so they don't heal Eritrikos. But we're letting you see what happens. And I want you to see how fast he's getting healed. Okay? We can go ahead and take out the gnolls. It's fine. But every round that you don't kill him, you have to deal with a round of trash and then a round of 8 gnolls that are going to heal him. Go ahead and kill Eritrikos once
he's still flying above us as well as being down on the floor.
That's funny. Okay, Eritrikos is dead. Now, one of the differences between Part 4 in Heroic and Legendary, in Part 4 in Heroic, you cannot be raised during it. Right at the end, there's a real quick window, but your Soul Stone actually gets teleported to Part 5 if you die in Part 4 of Heroic Shroud. In Legendary Shroud, you can be raised in Part 4. In Heroic, you cannot. In Part 3, I did not mention the difference between Heroic and Legendary. In Part 3, the biggest difference, I think the only difference is there's some trash mobs, the kobolds in the center, and then at the end. And then the wall, in Heroic, the wall doesn't come up for 5 minutes. But in Legendary, the prismatic wall is there right away. Any questions about any parts of the Shroud before we do Part 5, the final part? Hell yeah, Fa. This is year 12 of our teaching raids on Sarlona. Okay, Part 5 is different. Yeah, here, in order to go to Part 5, everybody dies. So once you click on the altar, what happens is a portal appears right here, and when anybody clicks on the portal, everyone dies. And it's a gag to get the new guy to touch the portal and make, try to set up some gag like, oh, you got to touch the center of the portal and we'll get some extra chests. But then act like, they did it wrong and everybody died, and it's a funny gag. I fell for it when I was a newbie. But in Legendary Shroud, that doesn't happen. You just click on the Codex of Infinite Planes to go to the next part. So this part is, while it does take, just go ahead and click on the Codex. It takes place in the same zone as Part 5 of Heroic. The fight plays out completely differently. Yeah, don't do Heroic on Hardcore, because it kills you, and that will count as your death. Go ahead and click on the Codex of Infinite Planes, the book on the floor, to advance to Part 5. There will be Shavroth blades whirling about the zone. And once we step forward, it'll activate the fight. And we're going to have to kill the 4 bosses. There's 4 bosses. Like the Irenes from Devils in the Details, and Garco from A Creeping Death, and the frog guy from Subversion. Yeah, the Slad. And then there's one more guy, the boss of Tavern Brawl. Fortis. So go ahead and beat down these 4 bosses. No big whoop on normal. Oh, the boss, I think I made a mistake. The Iranese, or no, the Iranese, the boss, the Carver, the boss of Multitude of Menace is here too. All right, so for the next 5 minutes or so, and it's timed, the Rakshasa is gonna use the Codex of Infinite Planes to summon monsters from the various planes, and so he just summoned Slads from Limbo, and then he's gonna go, okay, now try some Devils from Shroud. Here you go, Zori at the Plane of Madness. So we get a bunch of Thorak Hounds and a Beholder, and we're just gonna fight wave after wave after wave. Now, it's actually timed, so if you wanted to, you could actually just, like, hold the mobs in place. You know, so, like, if you had a tank or something, or you could just leave, like, one mob alive and hold it, and then it wouldn't advance. Or you wouldn't keep getting spawns. And then you just have to wait about 5 minutes and kill that last mob, and then you could advance. So you don't actually have to kill this stuff. You just basically have to wait for 5 minutes. But most groups are probably just going to kill it. Okay, now we got mobs from Kyber. Rust monsters and oozes. Mobs from Fernia, fire giants and fire elementals. Oh, for what it's worth, there's pools up kind of like behind the Rakshasa on either side, and there's pools in the back corner. If you move through the pools, you will regenerate spell points and hit points. For what it's worth, if you ever, I don't know, you really were really running low on mana and you need to get some free mana back, you can just sit there and like run in and out of the pool. See that? I'm getting a little bit of hit points and a little bit of mana back as I do this. Back in the old days in Heroic Shroud, when we didn't have as much mana, you would kill the first 4 bosses. And then people would be back here. Like, you'd kill the first 3 bosses, and you'd hold the 4th boss, and you'd get the casters get their mana back, and then you'd kill the 4th boss. And then with full mana bars, you'd go after the boss. But it's a different boss in Heroic Shroud. In Heroic Shroud, the bosses are Atricos. So in Heroic Shroud, the way that it works is you just come in here, and you beat down four bosses, and it would be in the same 4 bosses from Part 2. In Heroic, and then after you beat them down, Atricos would spawn and you would beat him down and then you would win. But it's different in Legendary. Standing on the altar is a safe spot from the Shavroth Blades. There are some other safe spots in the zone. I believe where I'm standing in the center here is safe. Right underneath the fountainhead.
The fountains are.
So after 5 minutes of this, what's going to happen is the Rakshasa is going to become aggressive, and he's got a really nasty Hellball. It's not going to be a big deal on normal. And, you know, he's also a spellcaster, so he's got some nasty spells. Spell absorption can be helpful. And then after he's beat down, the Codex of Infinite Planes will animate, basically a flying book. And then we're going to beat that down. The flying book, the Codex has some really nasty spells too, so again, spell absorption can be really helpful. And then once we beat down the Rakshasa and then the Codex of Infinite Planes, we win. So if there's any questions about Legendary Shroud, let me know. Or the difference between Heroic and Legendary, let me know. Otherwise, that is going to be it for today's event. And then after the teaching raid, I'm going to take a take a 5-minute break to top off my coffee and stuff, and then I'm going to demonstrate how to solo Heroic Shroud on the live stream. And soloing Heroic Shroud is basically the same as soloing Legendary in terms of the process. Okay, the Rakshasa is beat down. Now we're going to beat down the Codex of Infinite Planes. Super, super easy on normal. And we win. Congratulations on your first Shroud completions, hand like feet. He's never done Heroic or Legendary before. How cool is that? This was his first. There's 3 chests on Hard and 4 on Elite. Any questions about Legendary Shroud before we wrap it up? I put my ingredients in the chest for you. Oh, I got to show you how to go back and go to the earlier altars, guys. So after you loot your chests, if you come over here to these portals in the back. High Lords, thanks so much for coming. For those of you who are here to learn, if you look at these portals in the back, you can examine them. You see it says like portal to the waning moons and portal to the new moons, and there's 2 more portals on the other side. And if you examine them, you can see the earlier parts. So the portal of the waning moons, you can see like in the focus orb, you can see like the archway that I showed you where the firewall was in part 1. So you can just click on these portals to go to the earlier parts so that you can use the crafting devices. But note that any leftover trash mobs, and there can be Shavroth blades and stuff, are still active. So there are things that could kill you. So you do want to be careful. And then, like, after part 1, you can just basically go retrace your steps to go to part 2 and 3. You know, the crafting devices are at the end of part 1, 3, and 5 for tier 1, 2, and 3 of Shroud, of Legendary Greensteel stuff. Those are your first threads of fate. So this is your first legendary raid as well. That's amazing. Congratulations on your first legendary raid completion. I hope there'll be many more. Okay, guys. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to turn it in, and have a good one. Any questions? Anybody watching the live stream have any questions about Shroud or Legendary Shroud? Like I said, we are going to do... I'm going to solo Heroic Shroud in the next segment just to show you how that works. I also want to bring up the Cubicle Ninja Puzzle Solver to show you how you can use that to solve these lights out puzzles. So this is the Cubicle Ninja Puzzle Solver. I love this site. Shout out to whoever does this. I don't know who does it. I don't even know if this person plays DDO anymore, who it is. But I've been using this ever since I was a newbie. And you've got puzzle solvers for Reaver's Fate. And there's one of the new Mithranor quests that uses this puzzle as well. Demon Queen Riddle, Litany of the Dead questions, Monastery of the Scorpion puzzle. But we want to do Shroud. So right here you set which puzzle you got. Do you have the 3x3, the 4x4, the 5x5, or the circular? Okay. So let's say you have the 5x5. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to click edit, okay, and you're going to set it to the way the lights are. So let's say the lights are like, the starting lights are like, that's the way it looks. You click edit, right, and you set it to the way that it is. The object is to get all the lights lit up. So let's say you're in the 5x5 room. You click edit, you pull it up, you click edit, and then you set it to the way that it looks. So let's say it looks like that when you enter there. Then you click solve. Oops, that's not valid. So let's see. It's not valid. Solve. There we go. So let's say that was the setup. You click solve, and it lights up in green the tiles that the puzzle pieces that you're supposed to touch. It doesn't matter what order. You just have to touch these 3, then these 3, then these 3, then these 3, then that one, and it'll solve it.